Hello, I'm coming to you, vulnerability soul first, nails grown out, roots showing, celebrating the crowning of a new pope today, and bankrupt. I am officially bankrupt. Let's talk about it. If you just want to learn about bankruptcy, skip to 20 minutes. I talk about my entire process there. But if you want to learn how I got into $35,000 worth of debt by being a stripper, almost dying of a rare blood disorder, becoming TikTok famous, trying to start a business, failing, trying to sell my life story, failing, and then surviving everything to be the beautiful phoenix from the ashes you see before you, then stick around. It's actually kind of funny because when I think about the entirety of my life, filing for bankruptcy was like the one thing that I was always really persistent on avoiding. My mom filed for bankruptcy when I was in high school, and it was like a very traumatic experience. My mom's attitude towards money was very, I don't want to say scarcity mindset because I hate that term, but I will say like apocalypse now mindset, to where one day she would be like, oh my God, like we have no money. We can't take any trips. We can't do anything. And then like the next day we'd be shopping because there was a sale at Target. It was very much the feeling of like, well, we're already fucked, so we might as well go out having fun, you know? And that's definitely the approach that I take in almost every single part of my life, but definitely in my finances as well. My dad is the opposite. My dad is extremely regimented. He has always had an amazing credit score, and he's always had an incredible savings. I think they also both kind of grew up in very different environments. My mom grew up very working class in the middle of North Dakota, like small farmer town. My dad's side is like fallen royalty in Peru, which is so funny to say out loud because like we literally were on like free and reduced lunch. But at the time when my dad was growing up, he was at all the nice private schools. They were like a very wealthy, like privileged family. Now, no one has money, but well, my dad has money. I don't want to like diminish his accomplishments, but growing up, I always felt very poor, probably poorer than I actually was. And I think a big reason is because I was constantly around all the rich kids. So my mom would put us, you know, in nice clothes and put us in all the nice activities and put a lot of that on credit cards. We were very much, I believe, living maybe like a middle class lifestyle when we were like working middle class, like lower. Most of my messaging around money was very mixed messaging because my mom would be telling me most of the time, oh my God, I'm sorry, we can't afford like a prom dress for you. And also my dad would be coming back and being like, we're not poor. You have no idea what poor is. In Peru, people are poor and we're rich over there. And like showing me $100 bills when he came back to visit me in North Dakota. But meanwhile, no one had money for me to go to college. No one had savings. Like it was very, very stressful.
I Betty White, she ain't dead before when she died because I know it's coming up. Oh, get it! Hey, look.
So part 2, almost dying. Went to college, and within like 4 weeks, I was diagnosed with a rare blood disorder called aplastic anemia. I stopped making my own blood and had to live off of like blood transfusions and like weird diet chemo and couldn't leave the house. And everyone thought I was gonna die for like pretty much that whole year. And then I didn't. And now it's been 10 years and I'm recovered and I'm good. But definitely reinforced that idea from my mom of like, well, we're all fucked. Let's make the most of it while you can and while you're healthy. I don't know. When you almost die, when you're in your deathbed at 18, like you are the butt of the joke. Like it is truly so embarrassing. You're just like, oh my God, I never had sex. I never did drugs. I never drank. Like I told myself I was going to do all that in college and now I don't even get to go to college. Like what the fuck? And so I think in my mind, and I've never really been able to shake this, I'm kind of like, if I would regret not doing it when I die, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it today. The second it comes into my head. That is kind of the main philosophy that gets me into a lot of issues in my life, and especially when it comes to money. So then we're gonna go into part 3, survivor and stripper. I already made a whole video about this, so I'm not gonna go too into depth. But immediately after getting out of pediatric oncology and getting my blood back, I joined the strip club as an employee, and that was interesting. I worked at a club in North Dakota, which is not very glamorous, okay? Got enough money saved up to pay for college. I was like incredibly debt phobic for 2 reasons. One, because when you're a stripper, the first financial guru that gets thrown at you is like Dave Ramsey for some reason. I think it's because he was like the first or the oldest in the space at the time. And he's very anti-debt. And then 2 is I was getting calls every day about like medical debt that ended up going to collections. And it was very annoying and very triggering and I hated it. So then I moved to New York. I move into the studio with my dad and then I find another club on Craigslist that ends up being like an underground lap dance party for like Wall Street guys. So it's like a very expensive like clientele. All the girls are gorgeous, all the dudes are rich, and I'm making a lot of money, but I'm also like kind of living this double life because again, I am living with my father, so it's like very challenging balancing that. But I'm making more money than anyone in my life. Like I'm making more money than my dad at the time, making more money than my mom. I pretty much always make more money than both my parents. I thought that's a flex to them, not to me. They've done a lot for me. And more than all my friends, because we were all broke college kids, and we weren't like broke NYU college kids. We were broke city college kids, which means you actually grew up here and you live with your parents and you commute an hour and a half every day to get to the school of your choosing, because you're gonna have to be the one that saves the rest of your family from like abject poverty or some other thing. Immediately, I'm making at least like $1,000 a week, like most weeks, working 2 nights a week. So my life is like super easy. I don't quite know how to spend money yet at that point. So like my balling out is like I order from Bear Burger on the weekends, or I Uber when I'm late for class. And then I like buy my friends and my boyfriends like gifts and drinks. Like pretty much drinks are on me most of the time at that period of my life. But yeah, I was developing really bad money habits where I wasn't really tracking what I was making. The only thing I was tracking was paying off my debt, which now that I look back was like kind of a stupid call, because when you're making such inconsistent money, you need to be putting most of it into savings right away, because you don't know, it's not going to come back. In my mind, I was like, okay, if I can make 600 this night, I can make 600 every night. If I can make 1,200 this night, I can make it every night. It's again, one of those things where it's like, once you get used to something happening, you think it's always going to happen. And it takes a lot of it not happening for you to finally admit that it's like not a consistent thing.
If my manager insults me again, I will be assaulting him.
Then we get to part 4, is like my office career. I had one internship in college. Literally like the first month, the company went bankrupt. And I was like, oh my God, I'm fucked. I'm gonna have to be a stripper forever. Then that company got bought again. And my boss there brought me back on. And then she went to Vice. And then eventually I went to Vice with her. And at that time in my life, I was like, I am so financially blessed, because every time I failed, like something better came along like the next day. Like that internship explodes out of nowhere. Literally the next week, I go back to the club. I find like a super great like regular. Club gets raided, okay? Then after that club gets raided, I get a call from the boss saying that, my internship boss saying that the company's being bought back again, and do I want to come back? And it's like a higher rate. And so I get offered a job right out of college. So I go, make my check. I paid off all my student loan debt, because I had taken out some student loan debt, and all my medical debt by the time I graduated. So in those like 4 years, I paid off everything. And that would have been like 26,000, anywhere from 26 to 30,000. I can't quite remember at this point, but I was very proud of myself because I paid that all off by the time I stopped dancing and by the time I got back into the office job. Then my boss says, this place is going under. I'm pretty sure I'm going to Vice. Then like a month later, she's like, we're looking for editors. Do you want to come work with me? And I was like, hell yeah, brother. And then when I go to Vice, I get a $20,000 pay bump from what I was making at the other place, because they had just unionized. So I was like, holy fuck, shit is sweet. I was so proud of myself. Let me get my ice. Okay. This is like an amazing snack. Spending like an idiot. I spent so much money because the office was in Williamsburg, which if you don't know that area, there's so much shit to buy. I did get my first apartment for me and my sister in Bushwick without a guarantor, which is big in New York. I was very proud of myself, because again, I didn't have a guarantor option. My dad on paper made like $25K a year, and then my mom had horrible credit because she'd filed for bankruptcy. So there was no like fallback. I feel like working at Vice was kind of my first time around like the guarantor class in New York City. But again, they're like NYU kids, or they moved here for like a nice job. They work remote now. They were working like my job, but they were from like slightly higher backgrounds than me. And I was learning as a result of being around those people, like kind of how to spend money better, or like on more expensive things. So it was like the lifestyle creep thing, where you're around people who are making more. And so then you kind of learn new brands, you learn how to spend money you don't need to be spending. You learn a different way to be insecure about yourself because you're around different, fancier people. Then the pandemic happens. Now, I was pitching about the club I used to work at without telling them that I used to work there, but I had all these connections, whatever. And I finally got the budget. I finally got it greenlit. And the day we were supposed to shoot, was the day that there was like 5 outbreaks of COVID in the office and the world shut down and we were officially declared in a pandemic and they sent all of us home. So I was like, fuck, am I fucking live? After that, I still managed to salvage the project. I was talking to another producer and she was working on a similar thing about remote work. So I was like, why don't we link? And that piece did come out and it did really good. It's called Sex Work from Home on the Vice channels. Really proud of it still. And it was like the first video that was remotely produced from Vice to like do that well. It did like 2 million in like a week or something. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. So off the confidence of that, I got a connection with the drive-through strip clubs. During COVID in Portland, I was like becoming friends with the camera girl there who had like access and was constantly filming everyone at all these events. So I was like, great, perfect. We have someone to shoot it for free. All we have to do is do remote interviews. So I'm going to spend no money and turn out another banger for this company. Well, I pitched that idea to my boss and he said no. And so my response to that in my mind was like, okay, well, fuck you. I'm gonna use company time now to start another company that does the documentaries I want to make. I'm gonna make Crazy Girl Vice. Honestly, like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I don't know why I was like so confident. Like I realized at the time, why I'm telling you all that is because I had $25,000 in savings at that point in my life. I was 25, I had $25,000 in savings. Should have had a lot more for what I'd been making, but still it was there, okay? I wasn't spending money on anything anymore because I wasn't going out. So I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna start a documentary production company and I'm gonna pay all my friends who just got laid off to work for me. So I blew through my savings and racked up a shit ton of credit card debt very quickly. I had no business plan. I did not understand how little money you make on YouTube. I didn't understand anything at all, except for kind of how to tell a compelling story and kind of how to get crazy people to talk to you if you are also crazy. But they say invest in yourself. So that was my version of it. That's the other thing too. I feel like when we tell people invest in themselves, it should just be invest in your investment account is the answer. If you're investing in yourself in a way that is insane, in a way that is super risky, that should not be your first investment in yourself. Your first investment in yourself should be something that's like usually a little bit more consistent. Oh, I also bought myself a car at that time because I was living in North Dakota more. I needed a car. And I was dating a guy at the time who had so many DUIs that he needed someone to drive him around. So he said, I'll go halvesies with you on this car if you drive me around to take care of stuff for my business. So I was like, perfect. So I ended up getting a car. It was like $3,500 cash. I paid like $1,500. He paid the rest of it and I got the car. So yeah, I had kind of blown through all my savings by like 2021 and was like dealing with credit cards pretty much. And that didn't raise alarms with me because I was just like, these videos are going to pay off once they go viral, because why wouldn't they? That's so funny now because I'm like, why would they? I was one of the people, like everyone else in 2021, who like went viral and got like a following off of there. That's where most of the followers here are from. And it was for writing like video essays about my life, essentially. A production company reached out to me after seeing that video and they said, you know, you're a good writer. Have you written anything? Do you want to write a screenplay? I was like, yeah, I've got one ready right now. I'd never written a teleplay. Insanity. So for that entire year, I was working my day job at Vice as a remote worker. And then at night, I was like working on this script and then also trying to, you know, keep up with the TikTok output, which I failed at. My lease is up. I moved back into my dad's studio with my little sister this time. And my dad was living in Peru at the time. So we were splitting that place. We were both paying $500 each to live there. And it was, again, a little studio with like a couch. And I was sleeping on the couch and my sister was sleeping on the bed on the other side of the wall. And we were both really unwell at that point. It was just a very bad environment towards the end where we had a really bad falling out and I had to move out because we couldn't live together anymore during that period. We're good now, but at the time it was not good. So then I was like, oh, I have no apartment, nowhere to live. I'm effectively like fucking homeless. Then everyone at Vice got laid off that same year. Okay. So that was all happening. But I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. I'm going to put everything on credit cards and use my unemployment check because I'm going to be a fucking millionaire when I sell this screenplay about my life. Duh. Like I don't make so much goddamn money. And if you're hearing the pattern here, it's always, it's fine. I'm going to put all the money down now because I know I'm going to get it back tenfold later, which still is yet to materialize. But, you know, it's important to know yourself and know your own patterns. So those are mine. I moved back to Brooklyn, the apartment I'm in now, and the rent is cheap. I was paying $800 when I moved in, and then $835 when we renewed. Pretty much never had rent over $1,000. For like the next year and a half, it is really slim pickings getting a job, because that same year that I get laid off is also the year that the writer's strike happens, in the middle of my contract with that production company when we were supposed to be going out for round 2 of pitches. So I had a year-long contract with them. Essentially, it ended up being a 6-month contract because the strike was the entirety of that last half of that contract. So the show never sold. I grieved. That was the worst depression of my life. I thought that that was going to be the thing that saved my family. I thought that was going to be the thing that vindicated every decision I'd ever made in my life. I thought that was going to be the thing that like cleared all the debts from the past and made everything worth it. I was really like all in, and I wasn't ready. I wish I could. I don't even know if I wish. Everyone wishes for a do-over. I do believe I'll get another opportunity. It won't be the same one, but I do believe I'll get it. But for a while, I thought my life was over. Like, this is the end. I didn't even make it. Oh, and then like TikTok views started drying up because, of course, they make everyone famous on TikTok, and then they like stop showing you to people after like 4 months, 3 months, because they have to make new people famous so that more people will join the app. So pretty much everything was like going wrong. So last year I had one consistent client, God bless her. But I was making, like $2,500 a month, and I was spending at least $4,000, $5,000 every month. Then finally, I don't know what changed. Well, first I got Onion. That has nothing to do financially with anything. I still got Onion. I felt like I needed some spirit, some soul in my life. And then I feel like everything got better after that, like financially, because I had like a heart again. And the person I was working for, my one client referred me to another client, which was great. And then that client booked. And then the same week that that client booked, some random found me on LinkedIn. He had watched the Work From Home documentary and thought, okay, this girl's good at casting random people, and I need her to remote produce this thing for my company. And so that's where I'm working now. None of these people are affiliated with anything I've said in this video, but just so you know, now I have like a good client base. And so I knew like all these contracts I got offered November, December, I knew I was going to start making more money in January. I was going to be making 4 times my income that I'd made the previous year. So I was like, because at that point, it was too late to get approved for personal loans. I dilly-dallied around when I shouldn't have. So the only options when you get to that point are bad options. It's you file bankruptcy and your credit is fucked for 10 years, or you do debt negotiation, payment, debt relief. Essentially what it is a bunch of lawyers like take on your case. They tell you stop paying on all your credit cards, go into default. That way the companies will have to negotiate with you. And then they get a bunch of different debtors together, and then they negotiate all of the payments down into like a lump sum, so that in theory you're paying back less. My plan that they had offered me was I was going to be paying $600 a month for like 5 years. I almost did that. But then I was talking to like an organizer who does debt relief stuff, so he doesn't get paid to do that. And he was like, why don't you just file for bankruptcy? And I was like, well, why would I do that? Then I won't have a credit score. And he's like, well, you already don't have a credit score, and you won't have a credit score with these other people either. It's just the difference is you're going to be paying the attorneys $35,000, or you're going to be paying no one and you're going to get to keep your money, but you won't get a credit card for the next 10 years. And then I looked at my life and I was like, okay, well, I'm almost 30 years old. I've been making at least like $80,000 every year since I was 21, 22, and I've never had to pay more than $1,000 for rent. And I have no fucking money. And yes, there was a bad year in there where everyone was unemployed, but I should have been prepared for that because I had another 8 years where things were going well. So I was like, maybe it's a good thing that I won't be able to use credit cards again because I just don't have the personality for it. I never once utilized the point system. It's too much for me to keep track of. And I am the kind of person that sees opportunity in everything. And I don't really see how something could go wrong until it's already gone wrong financially. And I never seem to learn that lesson. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe it's great if I don't have any credit cards. Same with the shopping. When things are going bad, I make them worse by being like, fuck it, we ball. So at that moment, I was like, maybe this is like the most loving thing I could do for myself, is completely eliminate the thing that's making it easiest to ruin my life right now. Now I'm realizing as I'm trying to find a place to move, and it is very difficult. And I will say also extremely frustrating to go to an apartment, tell them I can pay you 6 months right now. I have 6 months sitting in an escrow account of rent for you to have today, to give me the keys to this apartment, and then being like, no, sorry, that girl with no job who's never worked a day in her life and is on her like 6th master's degree program has a mom who makes 80 times the rent in Ohio, so she gets the apartment, not you. That is maddening. That is frustrating, but that is life and that is reality. To declare bankruptcy means that you're essentially telling the government, I have borrowed way more than I can pay back. I will never be able to pay this back. It's not happening. It's not happening. And then they say, okay, well, you're freed of these debts, but everyone's going to know about it for 10 years. And you're like, that's fine. Everyone can talk shit. The first thing you have to do is find an attorney. I researched a couple ones. I honestly just chose mine because that was the guy who talked to me on the phone the longest, okay? His name is Jeb. Seems like a good guy. So then you have to get kind of all your paperwork in order. So what that is bank statements, tax statements, rent statements, everything that shows like all the money you've spent, all the money you've earned. Okay, so what do they take and what do you get to keep during a bankruptcy? Well, every state is different. Every situation is different. For New York City, my car they didn't want because it's under $20,000. And they cannot take your retirement accounts. So my 401k and my IRA, which is where all my money actually was safe. Essentially, sometimes what you have to do is you have to sell off some of your assets to cover some of your debts, but because I had almost no assets, I didn't have to. You have to take 2 financial literacy classes when you file. One is before you officially file, and then one is after you've already filed. So we're prepping all that. My lawyer fee was like $2,000. I took that out of my retirement account. And then it's like a $300 court fee to file with the court. So then you have Zoom court, which is super boring. I was ready for credit card people to be there. No one was there. None of my creditors were there.
Only in the case of Alexa Pupo. Counsel, do you recognize the individual in the Zoom meeting today to be that of the debtor?
Yes.
I'm looking at a photo ID provided and the individual in the meeting, and I agree and will proceed.
So they finally call your name and they ask you a couple questions. They go, the paperwork is done, it's discharged. And then you have the final class, which is what I'm doing right now, which takes 20 goddamn minutes, but they make you take 2 hours to fucking do it. Let me go to some frequently asked Qs. And again, I'm also on Instagram and Substack if you want to message me anything. First one, how did you know it was time to file bankruptcy? I knew it was time because I literally had no other option. It was that or debt collection. And as I already expressed, I would prefer to keep all of my money rather than pay $35,000 back. Before all this happened, I had a great credit score. So I had ended up getting like a $60,000 credit card line. Okay. What I didn't know is that they can cut your credit limit at any time for any reason. So I had racked up to about 35K. And then overnight, I went from 60K, like 50% credit card utilization, to my credit limit. They made it at 30K. And I had already spent 35K, so I was already over. So my credit score went from like a 700, like 650, and then all of a sudden to like 400, 500. I was paying probably at least like $1,200 to $2,000 every month on these credit cards for like multiple years. I would say for like 7 years. Next question, how much money do you owe? $35,000. I've always thought it was for small businesses and mega corporations. No, you don't actually only have to be the president to file. You can file for bankruptcy as a normal person too. Chapter 7 is what I did. And for me in the state of New York, I had to prove that the last 6 months I had averaged under $4,500 a month, which was easy because that's what I had done. What are some disadvantages? The disadvantage is anything having to do with your credit score. The apartment thing is huge, especially in New York. Like, it's a very competitive real estate market. I'm probably gonna have to sublease for the first time ever, which makes me terrified. I don't know if I can use Afterpay Klarna to buy Taco Bell or whatever the hell people are saying. I paid for my Coachella ticket full price because I didn't even want to get the credit ding. Yeah, I'm just so grateful. Like, really, I have a beautiful fucking life. I have good friends. I have a family that loves me. I have income again, enough income and like job flexibility that I can still travel and work on my creative projects. Like, the only thing I don't have is a lover, which I would love to have. Call me, beat me. If you want to be financially responsible with me, 8 minutes left on this quiz, and then I can finally take my final test. Okay. Let me know if you want part 2. Let me know what else you want to know. Thanks for listening to me talk. Made me feel a lot better. Love you. Bye.
Calling the case of Alexa Pupo. Any creditors present wish to elect a trustee? There being none, Richard McCourt qualifies pursuant to 11 U.S.C. 702. Counsel, note your appearance.
Ira Reed, Jeb Singer Law Group, representing the debtor admitted in the Eastern District.
Okay, ma'am, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you'll give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Please lower your hand, please, and state the last 4 digits. State your name, please.
Alexa Pupo.
And please state the last 4 digits of your social security number. Please state the first 3 digits of your New York State driver's license ID number. Counsel, do you recognize the individual in the Zoom meeting today to be that of the debtor?
Yes.
I'm looking at a photo ID provided and the individual in the meeting, and I agree and will proceed with the hearing. Did you read and understand the information sheet from the trustee's office?
Yes.
Did you read and understand the information in this petition and means test form before you sign them?
Yes.
Did you list all your creditors and assets?
Yes.
Is the information true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Do you wish to make any changes at the present time?
No.
Have you ever filed bankruptcy before?
No.
According to these documents, your income from all sources in a household of one at the time of the filing was $3,500 a month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have you ever owned any virtual cryptocurrency?
No.
Do you have any domestic support obligations, court-ordered family court custody and matrimonial actions?
No.
Have you ever owned any real property, meaning a house, co-op, or condominium?
No.
Have you transferred or given any property to anyone in the past year?
No.
Does anyone hold any property belonging to you or owe you any money?
No.
Do you have any claims against anyone, the right to sue anyone?
No.
Have you paid any creditors any money in the past year other than current payments?
No.
Are you entitled to a tax refund that you haven't received?
No.
What's the largest amount of money you had in your bank account at any one time in the past 2 years?
I think 3,000.
Do you have any stocks and bonds, certificates of deposit, safe deposit box,
No.
automobile?
I do have a automobile. It's listed.
What kind of car?
It's a PT Cruiser. It's like 2008. I bought it for cash for like $2,000 in 2020.
Cash value life insurance, winning lottery tickets?
No, I wish.
Have you ever owned an interest in a business?
No.
All right, well, thank you for your cooperation and participation. I'm closing the first meeting at this time, so you can leave the Zoom meeting and have a nice day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
And now I'm done.